In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far away from Earth's bustling cities and endless chatter, an alien scout ship floated silently through space. Its sleek silver body shimmered faintly under the light of distant stars. Inside, a crew of 6 beings worked tirelessly, their large black eyes scanning screens filled with strange symbols and blinking lights. These aliens had been observing humanity for decades, cataloging everything about them, how they lived, what they ate, how they fought, and even how they loved. To the aliens, humans were primitive creatures, fragile and weak compared to the advanced civilizations scattered across the universe. But something unexpected happened one evening that would change everything, not just for the aliens but for humanity as well. It started on Earth. People around the world looked up at the sky, noticing something strange. At first it seemed like clouds parting during a storm, but this was different. Slowly, almost gracefully, the sky itself began splitting apart. It wasn't breaking into pieces or crumbling. Instead, it peeled back like curtains being drawn open. What lay beyond left everyone speechless. Dozens of massive ships appeared where the sky had once been. They weren't airplanes or satellites. They were enormous star destroyers. Each ship stretched miles long, their metallic surfaces glowing softly against the darkness of space. Weapons bristled along their sides and engines hummed with power so immense it made the ground tremble below. Humanity froze in awe and terror. Some people dropped to their knees, praying to gods they hadn't spoken to in years. Others ran screaming, convinced the end of the world had finally arrived. Social media exploded with videos and photos of the spectacle, hashtags like dark sky splitting and dark star destroyers trending globally within minutes. Meanwhile, aboard the alien scout ship, things were no less chaotic. 647, the commander of the mission, stared at the monitors showing live footage of the event. His tentacle-like fingers twitched nervously as he tried to process what he was seeing. This wasn't supposed to happen, he muttered, to himself. His second-in-command, Krill 92, hovered closer, her translucent skin flickering with anxiety. "Commander, do you think these ships belong to the Galactic Council?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "No," 647 replied, sharply. "The Council doesn't operate like this. Their fleets announce themselves formally. They don't just appear out of nowhere." He paused, his mind racing. Whoever controls those ships is powerful. Far more powerful than us. Back on Earth, governments scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called in secret bunkers deep underground. Scientists debated endlessly, trying to figure out whether the ships belonged to friendly visitors or hostile invaders. Military leaders argued over strategies. Should they prepare for war, surrender preemptively, or attempt communication? No, one knew what to do. Ordinary citizens, however, reacted in ways both predictable and surprising. In New York City, a man named David stood on his apartment balcony, filming the ships with his phone. "If they wanted to destroy us, they'd have done it already," he told his neighbor, who was peeking out nervously from behind her curtains. Across the ocean in Tokyo, a young girl named Aiko drew pictures of the star destroyers in her notebook, imagining them as protectors rather than enemies. And in a small village in Africa, elders gathered around a fire sharing stories of ancient prophecies that spoke of skies opening and gods descending. As hours turned into days, the star destroyers remained motionless above Earth, casting eerie shadows over entire continents. They didn't attack, nor did they communicate. They simply hung there watching. It was as if they were waiting for something, or someone, to make the next move. The aliens aboard the scout ship couldn't shake off their growing unease. 647 ordered his team to run scans on the star destroyers, hoping to gather any information that might explain their presence. But every attempt failed. The ships emitted some kind of energy field that blocked all forms of detection. Frustrated, 647 decided to take matters into his own hands. "We need to establish contact," he announced during a tense meeting with his crew. "Send out a probe. Let's see if we can get a response." Krill 92 hesitated. "Commander, are you sure? That's wise. What if they perceive it as a threat?" "It's a risk we have to take," 647 snapped. We can't just sit here doing nothing while those ships loom over this planet. Our superiors will demand answers, and I intend to give them some. Reluctantly, Krill 92 obeyed. She programmed a small drone-like probe and launched it toward the nearest Star Destroyer. The probe zipped through the atmosphere, its sensors gathering data as it approached. For a brief moment, it seemed like the mission might succeed. Then, without warning, the Star Destroyer's defenses activated. A beam of blinding light shot out, vaporizing the probe instantly. On the scout ship, alarms blared as the crew watched in horror. 647 clenched his fists, realizing the gravity of the situation. Whoever controlled those ships didn't tolerate intruders. "What do we do now, Commander?" Krill 92 whispered, her voice barely audible over the chaos. 647 didn't answer. Immediately, he leaned forward, staring at the monitors displaying images of the Star Destroyers. His mind raced with possibilities, none of them good. One thing was certain. Earth was no longer the focus of their mission. Something far bigger and far more dangerous had entered the picture. Little did 647 know, humanity was about to surprise everyone, including themselves. The alien scout ship buzzed with tension. 647 paced back and forth across the dimly lit command deck, his long, tentacle-like limbs twitching nervously. The destruction of their probe had sent shockwaves through the crew, not just because of the loss, but because it confirmed their worst fears. Whoever controlled the Star Destroyers wasn't interested in diplomacy. They were powerful, unpredictable, and clearly unwilling to tolerate interference. "We should leave," Krill 92 suggested hesitantly, her voice barely above a whisper. "We've done our job here. Humanity is primitive, they're no threat. To us or anyone else. Let's report back to headquarters and let them deal with this." 647 stopped pacing and turned to face her, his glowing eyes narrowing. "And tell them what? That we ran away from a fleet of unknown ships without even trying to make contact? Do you think they'll accept that?" Krill 92 flinched, but didn't respond. She knew he was right. Their superiors expected results, not excuses. Running away now would mean disgrace, and possibly worse. Still, the thought of confronting those massive Star Destroyers filled her with dread. After a moment of silence, 647 made up his mind. "We'll try again," he said firmly. "But this time, we'll use formal communication protocols. If they're advanced enough to build ships like that, they'll understand our language." Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity struggled to make sense of the situation. Governments around the world convened emergency meetings, debating how to handle the mysterious visitors. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Carter stood at the head of a crowded war room, her face pale but determined. "We can't just sit here waiting for them to make the first move," she told her advisors. "If they wanted to destroy us, they'd have done it already. So why are they here? What do they want?" General Marcus Reed, the head of the U.S. military, leaned forward in his chair. "Maybe they're testing us," he said gruffly, "seeing how we react before deciding whether to attack or negotiate." "That's possible," agreed Dr. Elena Martinez, the lead scientist advising the president. "But we also need to consider another possibility. They might be here to protect us." "Protect us from what?" General Reed scoffed. Dr. Martinez hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "From threats beyond our understanding. Maybe there's something out there, something dangerous, that we don't know about yet." The room fell silent as everyone considered her words. It was a terrifying thought, but it made sense. After all, if the Star Destroyers weren't invaders, then who or what were they guarding against? Back aboard the alien scout ship, 647 prepared to send a message. He instructed his communications officer, Vex 13, to compose a transmission, using universal symbols and frequencies designed to convey peaceful intentions. Once the message was ready, 647 gave the order to broadcast it toward the nearest Star Destroyer. "For the sake of our mission and our survival, we must hope they respond," he said grimly. Minutes passed, then hours. The crew waited anxiously, their eyes glued to the monitors, but no response came. The Star Destroyers remained ominously silent, their weapons still pointed outward as though ready to strike at any moment. "This isn't working," Krill 92 muttered under her breath. "They're ignoring us." Zix-47 clenched his fists, frustration bubbling beneath his calm exterior. "Try again," he ordered. "Increase the signal strength. Use every frequency available. We won't give up until we get an answer." Vex-13 nodded and adjusted the controls, sending out another wave of transmissions. Still nothing happened. The Star Destroyers loomed unchanged, their presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. As the hours dragged on, the crew began to lose hope. Some whispered among themselves, speculating about the nature of the beings controlling the ships. Were they machines? Artificial intelligences programmed to patrol the galaxy? Or perhaps ancient gods, as some humans seemed to believe? Then, just when despair threatened to overtake them, something unexpected occurred. A sudden burst of energy erupted from one of the Star Destroyers, illuminating the darkness of space. The aliens watched in stunned silence as a smaller craft detached from the larger vessel and began descending toward Earth. "They're making contact," Krill 92 exclaimed, her voice tinged with both excitement and fear, but Zix-47 wasn't so sure. "With whom?" he asked pointedly. "Us? Or the humans?" On Earth, panic spread as people saw the smaller craft approaching. News outlets broadcast live footage of its descent, showing a sleek, triangular ship gliding smoothly through the atmosphere. It landed in a remote desert region of Nevada, far from major cities but close enough to attract attention. Within minutes, military helicopters surrounded the area, while scientists scrambled to set up observation equipment. President Carter authorized a team of experts to approach the ship cautiously. Among them was Dr. Martinez, who had volunteered, despite the risks. As the team neared the craft, a hatch opened slowly, revealing a figure bathed in soft blue light. It wasn't human. The being stepped forward, its tall, slender frame covered in shimmering silver armor. Its face was smooth and featureless except for two large, glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through everyone present. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the being raised a hand, and a voice echoed inside their minds, not spoken aloud, but somehow understood. "We come in peace." Relief washed over the humans, though caution lingered. Dr. Martinez stepped forward, holding up a tablet displaying images of Earth's landscapes, animals, and people. It was a gesture meant to show goodwill. The alien tilted its head, studying the images briefly before responding telepathically. "You are not alone in this universe," it said. "Many forces seek to harm you. We are here to ensure your survival." Before anyone could ask questions, the being re-entered the ship, which lifted off silently and returned to one of the Star Destroyers. Aboard the alien scout ship, confusion reigned. Zix-47 stared at the monitors, watching the entire exchange unfold. His crew exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to do next. "They're helping the humans," Krill 92 whispered, her voice shaking. "Does that mean we're the ones they're protecting them from?" Zix-47 didn't answer. Instead, he issued a single command: "Prepare for immediate departure." As the scout ship activated its engines and began retreating into deep space, Zix-47 couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly avoided disaster. The Star Destroyers weren't invaders. They were guardians. And humanity, primitive as it was, had just gained some very powerful allies. The news of the alien guardians' message spread like wildfire across the globe. Social media platforms, television networks, and radio stations buzzed with discussions about what had happened in the Nevada desert. People debated endlessly, was this real? Were humans truly being protected by an advanced civilization? Or was it all some elaborate hoax? Despite the uncertainty, one thing became clear: humanity wasn't alone in the universe anymore. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Carter called another emergency meeting to discuss the implications of the encounter. The war room was packed with military leaders, scientists, and diplomats, each offering their own theories about the Star Destroyers and their mysterious protectors. Dr. Elena Martinez stood at the center of the chaos, holding a tablet filled with data collected during the brief interaction. "They didn't attack us," she reminded the group, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. They communicated peacefully and even implied that they're here to help. That's significant. But help against what? General Marcus Reed asked gruffly. Who are these forces they mentioned? And why do we need protection? From them? Dr. Martinez hesitated before answering. It could be any number of things. There are countless civilizations out there. Some peaceful, others hostile. If the Guardians are telling the truth, then Earth might have been targeted, without us even realizing it. President Carter nodded thoughtfully. So what you're saying is, we've been living in ignorance while someone or something has been watching over us. Exactly, Dr. Martinez replied. And now, for reasons we don't fully understand, those protectors have decided to reveal themselves. The conversation shifted to how humanity should respond. Some argued for immediate action, building weapons or defenses in case the situation turned sour. Others suggested focusing on diplomacy, learning more about the Guardians and their intentions. But as the debate raged on, a surprising discovery changed everything. Deep within Earth's military archives, a team of researchers stumbled upon classified files that had been buried for decades. These documents detailed secret projects, abandoned years ago due to lack of funding and public interest. One such project involved reverse engineering technology recovered from crashed UFOs. At the time, skeptics dismissed the findings as science fiction, but the recent events forced officials to reconsider. Dr. Martinez was summoned to review the files, and what she found left her speechless. Blueprints, schematics, and experimental prototypes hinted at technologies far beyond anything humanity currently possessed. Anti-gravity engines, energy shields, and even rudimentary teleportation devices were among the discoveries. Though incomplete, the designs offered a glimmer of hope. If humanity could replicate even a fraction of what the files described, they might stand a chance if conflict ever arose. This changes everything, Dr. Martinez told President Carter during a private briefing. We may not be as helpless as we thought. Carter leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. Are you saying we can build weapons capable of rivaling those Star Destroyers? Not yet, Dr. Martinez admitted. But with enough resources and time, we could develop tools to defend ourselves, or at least buy us some breathing room until we figure out who's really behind all this. Without hesitation, Carter authorized the project. Factories that once produced tanks and missiles repurposed their equipment to construct experimental machines based on the unearthed blueprints. Engineers worked around the clock, fueled by caffeine and determination. Meanwhile, governments worldwide pooled their knowledge and resources, setting aside political differences for the greater good. For the first time in history, humanity, united under a single purpose, survival. While the scientific community raced to unlock the secrets of alien tech, ordinary citizens also played a crucial role. Social media campaigns encouraged people to support the effort in whatever way they could. Hashtags like #EarthUnited and Dark No Surrender trended globally, inspiring millions to volunteer, donate, or simply spread awareness. Schools introduced new curriculums focused on space exploration and interstellar diplomacy, preparing the next generation for life beyond Earth. David, the man who had filmed the Star Destroyers from his New York apartment balcony, joined a local group dedicated to raising funds for research. If aliens can build ships that big, why can't we? He joked during a neighborhood meeting. His enthusiasm was contagious, drawing in dozens of volunteers eager to contribute. Even Aiko, the young girl who had drawn pictures of the Star Destroyers, found a way to help. She submitted her artwork to an online contest organized by NASA, where it won first prize. Her design, a colorful depiction of Earth surrounded by protective shields, was printed on posters distributed worldwide. It became a symbol of hope, reminding everyone that humanity still had a fighting chance. As weeks turned into months, progress began to show. Prototypes of anti-gravity drones took flight, hovering silently above test ranges. Energy shields, though small and unstable, managed to deflect low-powered lasers. Teleportation experiments remained unpredictable, but early successes gave researchers hope. News of these breakthroughs reached the public, boosting morale and reinforcing the belief that humanity could rise to the challenge. But not everyone shared the optimism. Skeptics warned against relying too heavily on alien technology, arguing that it could lead to unforeseen consequences. Others questioned whether the Star Destroyer's guardians truly had humanity's best interests at heart. What if they were using the situation to manipulate Earth into becoming dependent on them? These concerns weren't unfounded. As humanity continued its efforts, strange occurrences began to surface. Satellites monitoring the Star Destroyers detected unusual activity, ships moving positions, energy signatures fluctuating, and occasional bursts of light emanating from their hulls. No one knew what it meant, but it kept tensions high. Meanwhile, aboard the alien scout ship, Zix-47 and his crew struggled to make sense of the unfolding events. After retreating to a safe distance, they observed Earth closely, reporting back to their superiors about the humans' rapid advancements. They're adapting faster than expected, Krill 92 noted during a routine update. Their primitive instincts are driving them to innovate. It's almost admirable. Zix-47 frowned. Admirable? They're playing with forces they don't understand. Sooner or later, they'll make a mistake, and when they do, it could cost them everything. Krill 92 hesitated before responding. Do you think the Guardians will intervene again? Protect them if things go wrong? I doubt it. Zix-47 replied grimly. The Guardians have already shown their stance. They'll shield Earth from external threats, but internal failures are humanity's responsibility. As the days passed, Zix-47 couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's newfound strength was both inspiring and dangerous. He wondered how long it would take before the fragile balance tipped and whether Earth would survive the fallout. Back on Earth, humanity pressed forward, driven by fear and hope alike. The Star Destroyers loomed overhead, silent sentinels guarding against unknown dangers. Beneath them, factories churned out prototypes, classrooms buzzed with excitement, and communities rallied together. Though challenges lay ahead, humanity stepped into this new era with renewed purpose. For the first time, Earth looked outward rather than inward, ready to claim its place among the stars. And high above, the Star Destroyers stood watch, ensuring that humanity's journey would unfold, for better or worse. This part highlights humanity's resilience and ingenuity while maintaining suspense through unanswered questions and looming threats. Let me know if you'd like further tweaks or expansions. The weeks following humanity's technological breakthroughs were a whirlwind of activity. Factories churned out prototypes, scientists worked tirelessly in labs, and governments coordinated efforts to prepare for whatever might come next. But, despite the progress, questions lingered. Why had the Star Destroyers appeared now? What was their true purpose, and who, or what, were they protecting Earth from? Then one fateful evening, everything changed. It began with a low hum that seemed to resonate through the air itself. People around the world stopped what they were doing, looking up at the sky as the massive ships above them shifted slightly. Their glowing hulls brightened, casting an ethereal light over cities, oceans, and deserts. Moments later, smaller crafts detached from the Star Destroyers, descending toward Earth in perfect formation. Unlike the single craft that had landed in Nevada months earlier, these ships spread out across continents, touching down near major cities like New York, Tokyo, London, Rio de Janeiro, and Cairo. Panic rippled through crowds as military forces scrambled to respond. Helicopters circled the landing sites while tanks rolled into position. Yet no shots were fired. Instead, the ships opened their hatches, revealing figures bathed in soft blue light, just like the being that had communicated during the Nevada encounter. This time, however, the message wasn't telepathic. It came through every device capable of receiving signals: televisions, radios, phones, even car stereos. A calm, resonant voice spoke in multiple languages simultaneously, addressing billions of people at once. "We are not your enemies," the voice declared. "We are guardians tasked with protecting younger species from galactic threats, including those who prey on innocence and vulnerability." Silence fell over the planet as humanity absorbed the words. For many, relief washed over them. These Beings weren't invaders. They were protectors. But the statement also raised new questions. Who exactly were these threats? And why had the Guardians chosen this moment to intervene? In Washington, D.C., President Emily Carter watched the broadcast alongside her advisors. Her hands trembled slightly as she processed the implications. Turning to Dr. Elena Martinez, she asked the question everyone was thinking. Do you think they're talking about the aliens we encountered earlier, the ones who sent the probe? Dr. Martinez nodded slowly. It makes sense. Those aliens weren't here to help us. They were studying us, probably planning something. The Guardians must have sensed their presence and decided to act. General Marcus Reed leaned forward, his brow furrowed. If that's true, then where are they now? Did they retreat or are they still lurking somewhere? Before anyone could answer, alarms blared in the war room. Satellite feeds showed movement among the stars. Not from the star destroyers, but from a distant point in space. A fleet of ships, sleek and menacing, emerged from the darkness. They matched the design of the alien scout ship that had probed Earth months ago. They're back, someone whispered, their voice trembling. But before panic could set in, the star destroyers sprang into action. Massive beams of energy shot out from their weapon systems, targeting the incoming fleet. Explosions lit up the night sky as several alien ships were obliterated mid-flight. The remaining vessels attempted to flee, only to be intercepted by smaller Guardian crafts. Within minutes, the battle was over. The alien fleet retreated, disappearing into the void from which it had come. Aboard the retreating alien scout ship, Zix-47 watched in horror as his comrades' ships were destroyed. His crew sat frozen in shock, unable to comprehend what had just happened. They're too powerful, Krill 92 murmured, her voice barely audible over the chaos. We never stood a chance. Zix-47 clenched his fists, anger and frustration boiling inside him. He had suspected the Guardians were dangerous, but he hadn't imagined they would react so decisively. Now, not only had his mission failed, but his entire race's plans for Earth had been thwarted. What do we do now, Commander? Vex-13 asked hesitantly. Zix-47 didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stared at the monitors showing images of the star destroyers returning to their positions above Earth. For the first time, he felt genuine fear, not for himself but for his people. If the Guardians were willing to destroy an entire fleet to protect a primitive species like humanity, what else were they capable of? We report back, he finally said, his voice heavy with resignation. And we warn our leaders, Earth is off limits. Any further interference will end in disaster. With that, the scout ship activated its engines and disappeared into the depths of space. Back on Earth, humanity erupted into celebration. News of the battle spread quickly, with videos of the explosions going viral online. Social media flooded with messages of gratitude toward the Guardians, who were now hailed as heroes. In cities around the world, people gathered in public squares chanting slogans like, "Thank you, Guardians," and "Earth stands strong." But amidst the jubilation, some remained cautious. Scientists and philosophers debated the Guardians' true motives. Were they truly altruistic, or did they have ulterior reasons for intervening? Others worried about humanity's growing reliance on alien technology. Could Earth ever achieve independence, or would it forever be indebted to its cosmic protectors? President Carter addressed the nation in a televised speech, urging calm and unity. Today we learned that we are not alone in the universe, she said, her tone firm yet reassuring. We also learned that there are forces out there who wish us harm, and others who stand ready to defend us. Let this moment remind us of our strength, our resilience, and our capacity to adapt. Together, we will face whatever challenges lie ahead. Her words resonated deeply, inspiring hope even among skeptics. Slowly but surely, life on Earth began to stabilize. Schools introduced courses on interstellar diplomacy, preparing students for potential future encounters. Engineers continued, refining prototypes based on alien tech, aiming to create sustainable solutions rather than weapons, and governments established a global council dedicated to fostering cooperation between nations, a symbol of humanity's newfound unity. As days turned into weeks, representatives from the Star Destroyers landed on Earth, establishing open communication channels with human leaders. They shared knowledge freely, offering insights into sustainable energy, advanced medicine, and faster-than-light travel. In return, they requested cooperation in monitoring dangerous entities like Zix-47's race. Though grateful, some humans remained wary. Could they trust these cosmic protectors completely? Others embraced the opportunity wholeheartedly, dreaming of exploring the stars alongside their newfound allies. Deep down, however, everyone knew that Earth's journey was just beginning. For now, the Star Destroyers loomed overhead, silent sentinels guarding against unseen threats. Beneath them, humanity stepped forward with renewed purpose, ready to claim its place among the stars, for better or worse. The days following the battle between the Star Destroyers and the alien fleet marked a turning point for humanity. For the first time, Earth's inhabitants understood that they were part of something far greater than themselves, a galaxy teeming with life, danger, and opportunity. The presence of the Guardians above their skies served as both a shield and a reminder. Humanity was no longer alone, but it also couldn't afford to remain stagnant. In Washington, D.C., President Emily Carter stood before a packed auditorium, addressing representatives from nearly every country on Earth. The global council she had envisioned weeks earlier had become a reality, its members united by a shared goal, ensuring humanity's survival and progress in this new era. "We have been given a second chance," she said, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "The Guardians have shown us that there are forces beyond our understanding, forces that could destroy us if we aren't prepared. But they've also shown us what is possible when we work together. Let us use this moment not just to survive, but to thrive." Her words echoed across the room, met with applause and nods of agreement. Nearby, Dr. Elena Martinez sat quietly, her mind racing with possibilities. She knew that while the Guardians' arrival had saved Earth from immediate threats, humanity still faced countless challenges. Could they adapt quickly enough to keep up with the demands of interstellar politics? Would they be able to balance gratitude toward the Guardians with independence? These questions lingered in her thoughts, but she pushed them aside for now. There was too much work to be done. Across the globe, factories once dedicated to producing weapons began repurposing themselves. In Detroit, assembly lines churned out sleek spacecraft designed using blueprints inspired by alien technology. Engineers tested prototypes capable of traveling beyond Earth's atmosphere, while scientists worked on developing sustainable energy sources to power these machines. Schools introduced courses on xenobiology, interstellar diplomacy, and advanced engineering, preparing students for careers that none of their ancestors could have imagined. Even ordinary citizens found ways to contribute. David, the man who had filmed the Star Destroyers from his New York apartment balcony, joined a local initiative to educate communities about space exploration. He traveled across the country, giving talks and sharing stories of how humanity had risen to meet the challenge posed by the unknown. His enthusiasm was infectious, inspiring others to dream bigger and aim higher. Aiko, the young girl whose artwork had won NASA's contest, continued drawing pictures of Earth surrounded by stars and protective shields. Her designs became symbols of hope, printed on posters and banners displayed worldwide. One of her drawings even made its way onto the side of a prototype spacecraft, earning her a personal invitation to tour the facility where it was being built. Despite the optimism, however, skepticism persisted. Some people questioned whether humanity should rely so heavily on alien technology. "What happens when the Guardians leave?" critics asked. "Will we crumble without them?" Others worried that the Star Destroyers might have ulterior motives, subtly manipulating Earth into dependency. These concerns weren't unfounded, but they were overshadowed by the overwhelming sense of unity and purpose sweeping across the planet. Meanwhile, aboard the Star Destroyers, the Guardians observed Earth's transformation with quiet satisfaction. Their mission, to protect younger species from galactic predators, had been successful thus far, but they understood that true security came from empowering those they protected. Representatives from the fleet landed regularly, sharing knowledge and resources with human leaders. They taught humanity how to harness renewable energy, cure diseases previously thought untreatable, and build infrastructure capable of supporting interplanetary travel. But the Guardians didn't stop there. They also warned humanity about the dangers lurking in the cosmos. Through holographic projections and detailed simulations, they showed images of hostile civilizations, rogue AI systems, and environmental disasters that had wiped out entire planets. These lessons weren't meant to instill fear, but to prepare humanity for the realities of life beyond Earth. "Knowledge is your greatest weapon," one Guardian told a group of scientists during a briefing. "Use it wisely." Humanity listened and learned. Slowly but surely, Earth adapted to its role in a much larger universe. Factories produced not just spacecraft, but tools for terraforming barren moons. Hospitals implemented treatments derived from alien medicine, curing illnesses that had plagued humanity for centuries. And schools fostered a generation of thinkers, explorers, and innovators eager to push boundaries and explore the unknown. Yet not everyone embraced the changes wholeheartedly. In remote corners of the world, pockets of resistance emerged. Conspiracy theorists claimed the Guardians were controlling humanity, feeding false information to keep people docile. Militant groups argued that reliance on alien tech weakened Earth's sovereignty, advocating instead for self-reliance, even if it meant slower progress. These voices were few and far between, but they reminded humanity that growth often came hand in hand with conflict. President Carter addressed these concerns during a press conference, acknowledging the fears while reaffirming her commitment to transparency. "Change is never easy," she said, "but isolation will only lead to stagnation. We must move forward, not blindly but with eyes wide open. Together, we can shape our destiny." Her message resonated deeply, silencing most critics, at least temporarily. As months turned into years, humanity stepped closer to claiming its place among the stars. The first manned spacecraft launched successfully, carrying astronauts to Mars. Colonies sprang up on the Red Planet, supported by technologies developed through collaboration with the Guardians. Trade routes opened between Earth and nearby celestial bodies, fostering economic growth and cultural exchange. And yet, despite all the progress, humanity never forgot the fragility of its position. The Star Destroyers remained above Earth, silent sentinels guarding against unseen threats. Occasionally, smaller fleets would arrive, engaging in skirmishes with hostile forces attempting to breach the solar system. Each victory reinforced humanity's trust in the Guardians, but also underscored the importance of self-reliance. One evening, as Aiko stood on a hill overlooking her hometown, she gazed up at the sky. The Star Destroyers glowed faintly against the backdrop of stars. Their presence, comforting yet humbling. Beside her, David smiled, pointing at a distant light streaking across the horizon. "That's one of ours," he said proudly. "A ship heading to Europa. Can you believe it?" Aiko nodded, her heart swelling with pride. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, rising from fear and uncertainty to embrace a future full of possibilities. High above, the Star Destroyers watched silently, their mission unchanged. They weren't conquerors or rulers. They were guardians, ensuring that humanity's journey would unfold peacefully, for now.